Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, and this is stock market wrap-up for Thursday, April 23rd, 2015. We take a look at the market action from yesterday and today. We look at our indicators. We're checking on Germany and China also. Look at the dollar, long-term bond, oil, gold. 4 stocks: U.S. Steel, Apache, and Canadian Solar, and SolarCity. First off, I want to make sure everyone's aware of the new 3-video training series that I'm providing on the website. Go to the training page on the website or click the hello bar at the top of the home page and it'll take you right there also. So check that out. I think you'll find it interesting. Okay, let's start off here with the Dow Industrials. Up 20 points today after being up, oh gosh, what was it yesterday? 950 to about 88 points yesterday. So 2 days in a row, 2 or 3 out of the 4 days up here over the last few days. Now, I got to say, when I look at this, I mean, we're still not out of this, out of this mess to a certain degree, We're still in this chop sideways, at least on the Dow, and we'll take a look at the others in a minute. And the interesting thing, this wedge line, just the way this comes up here and hugs it, there is still the case, you could make the case that this is a wedge formation, and this was this little E wave, kind of a fifth little wave here, and that this was a first breakdown type wave, okay? That's possible. And then we have an A, B, C, wave 2 back. So it's possible this is a 1, possible a 2, and now we're working a 1, 2 again. Now, that's a down scenario. It all goes away if you take out this point, because then you exceed what you think is your starting point to the downside, okay? So this is one potential scenario that's working right now, at least on the Dow Industrials. When I go to the S&P 500, it's different. It's taken out this point. It closed above here. Let me blow it up a little better. Okay, if I look at this, see how it closed above this now, and the intraday broke above it too. So now you're getting a move that's higher. So now what I've done is I've adjusted the trend line. I've called this the D wave or the fourth wave in this, back and forth. Looks like a series of 3 waves types of thing. And so now we're pushing higher here. The real question is, how much strength do we have in this push? We're not getting confirmation on the RSI yet. It hasn't pushed higher with this little push that we're getting. We're not seeing it on the directional on DI plus. So as I look at this, kind of wondering. And we'll see a couple other things. Now, the NASDAQ, everybody, of course, the press and the headlines are all about the fact that this is a new all-time high close. It's not the highest close since March 2000. I believe this just closed above the high of March 2000. So 50.56. If we go back to March of 2000, here we are. Okay, the highest close, 50.46.86, 50.48.62. That was the highest daily close that we had, and we just closed above it at 50.56. So it took 15 years to get back all of that drop and all of that exuberance and everything, and everything that happened after that. So now here we're pushing up, and the real question is, again, how strong is the push? Are we, we're not really getting divergence here, but we're not, it's hard to, we're not in overbought territory. Let's put it that way. This is a little weak. The interesting thing I noticed here about the ADX, the ADX is at 11, all right? Very, very low, okay? So when stocks or indices have a tendency to get this low, boy, I need to grab a glass of water there. When they get this low, it has a tendency for big moves to be coming. So it's going to be interesting to see if that really happens here or not. But, we're pushing up here, and I don't know whether this wedge is going to hold or not again on this. New York Composite, Looks like it's breaking out. It's pushing higher. But, it's right at this upper trend line in here of this kind of wedge. And I saw where, what is his name? Brandt, one of the guy who's kind of big into I read his book actually on charting. He actually has the same chart book I have from 1978 or whatever, and uses it. But he focuses a lot on commodities, although he does do stocks. Now he's calling this a big head and shoulders continuation pattern, and he thinks this is a breakout. And remember, I called that months ago, back when I saw this symmetry that was going on. I thought this was breaking out. Okay. What we're looking at is, what's the best way to do this? Let me do it like this. What we were looking at, remember, we were looking at a line that went all the way across the top like this. And it looked like this was breaking out, and then it failed and just came right back down in. Now, the symmetry wasn't perfect, and I'm still not convinced. I mean, I understand what he's saying, how it kind of looks that way, and he's now saying this is the breakout. I think I can't remember if he's looking at a weekly chart or what he's looking at, but anyway, I don't know. We'll watch to see what we get here on the New York Composite. The Russell 2000, we did not push to a new high in here with Russell 2000 like the Nasdaq did. Of course, everybody didn't confirm when the Russell back here on the 15th when the Russell pushed. Nobody else confirmed then either. So just, nice day. I mean, it's up, 6 points on the Russell 2000. Okay, let's take a look at the short-term trading index. We're still stuck right in the middle in terms of a reading. Trend was 1.23 today. Oh, I know what. Before I go into that, let me go to the DAX and China, or I will forget. So the German DAX looks like it's kind of rolling over a little bit here. It's starting to break down a little bit. You see the 10 crossing below the 21. The last time it did that was down in here, and it didn't really collapse or anything. It just kind of did a sideways correction. A little bit of became like a little symmetrical triangle that it broke out of and really ran. So we'll see what we get up in here now as this starts to break down. We are getting divergence, which is kind of setting up this breakdown that happened on the DAX. And of course, China has been going right through the roof. And where is it? Here we go. Shanghai Composites, what I always look at. I mean, look at this. I mean, it's just going straight up, and pretty very strongly overbought. Which again, in a very strong bull market, I've said this before, kind of like a broken record, but when you get strongly overbought, sometimes you just stay that way, and it's a signal that it's a very, very strong move. Now, we are getting some divergence that's coming in. Okay, you're seeing that the indicators aren't moving higher on all three indicators, so this is looking ripe for a nice sharp little correction to occur at any moment. All right, now we looked at the short term. Let's look at the VIX. The VIX is kind of interesting to me. We're getting very, very low. Okay, so we're down here, what is it, 12.48. We're kind of starting to cluster like we did back here. Now, the interesting thing is we are getting some bullish divergence here. Okay, the RSI is not going lower with this move down here. Now, it doesn't mean that it can't break down if we push down further on the VIX. It could. But right now it's looking like it's starting to set that up. And the other thing I was looking at, which is the ADX. Again, I just talked about how when it gets really, really low, big moves. Well, I've also looked at, okay, the dotted line is where ADX is 12, all right? Well, look at when it clustered down below 12, and it did it for 2 or 3 weeks. Then we had this huge eruption of a move, okay? And that was, right before we had this eruption here. Now, granted, we've only had a couple of days below 12. And again, we're looking for the light green line, okay, the ADX. I circled it down over here. So look how it started to do it right in here. But then it took a few weeks to base and then started to make those kind of moves. we've seen it happen when it gets that low before some big spike moves in the VIX. And of course, these are always associated with sharp sell-offs in the market. All right. So I'm kind of on that type of alert, but we've only got like 3 days down below the 12 on the ADX right now. All right, let's look at the high-low real quick. And I'm already going long, and I need to hurry up here. I don't want this to be too long. Okay, the high-low has not followed the market up. You can see how it's kind of flatlined almost in here. We did have 118 more new highs than new lows. And let's go back to the McClellan oscillator, which is on the New York Composite. And here's the McClellan oscillator. Yes, it's bounced back. Let me make sure that's the final reading. Yep. Okay, so we're right in here. Again, we're not even as high as where we were. So we do have some more room to push up here to get back to even the highs of, late December, February, 1st of February type of thing. We just haven't been able to get back up there since then. And I think that's it for the indicators. Let's take a quick look at the US dollar. Okay, the US dollar dropped today, and I am now starting to think that the fourth wave back down here is not done. This is just, this could still turn and run, but it's starting to look choppy. It's starting to look, what this is starting to look like is like, an A move and an A, B, C, B move, and like maybe we got one more down. That's what that's the scenario I'm watching for right now, and it would make sense for it to come right back down into this fourth wave in here, and that would coincide with the dollar weakening, with oil continuing to rally, which it was doing very well today. So let's take a look at that. And where is that? I think that, well, let's take a look at the long-term bond. Long-term bond bounced up just a little bit, kind of a consolidation move from the big drop yesterday. Okay, so we dropped down out of that consolidation. Thought that was consolidation, that we're going to continue another leg up, but it's not. It's kind of reversing back down out of it. So interest rates moved up slightly over the last 2 days, and 12-month oil knows where I want to go. Okay, so again, the press was talking about the fact that crude oil closed at the highest level for this year, and sure enough, when you look at USL, it closed at 27.28, and that was the highest reading of a close for 2015. All right, so it's trying to push up through this resistance in here, and it looks like it's tracking. Tracking. When it does that, kind of distorts the picture, and I'm trying to get a couple of the indicators to pop up here. I wouldn't call this divergence yet. Just we could be getting a little bit there. I don't know. The trend is still, the trend's looking good, and we're going to roll with that. And the last one here is gold. GLD we'll look at, and the gold shares, Spider Gold shares. So yesterday, big drop in gold, went from, on GLD, from 115.38 all the way down, closed to 113, and then we popped back up today. I'm not sure if the volume wasn't nearly what it was yesterday, selling off, and you can see where the trading hasn't even been close to a 50-day moving average of volume on this thing. So right now, we're getting a little bit of a moving average cross down in here. This could be getting ready to roll over to the downside. All right, let's take a look at the 4 stocks tonight. And because oil was up, let's take a look at Apache. And Apache I'm looking at, I think it's going to continue the trend. That's what I'm looking for. I was looking to get in today, but it did not close above the 10. It's right at the 10, basically. 1 penny above it, I think. Let's see, the 10-day, 30, yeah. And it just wasn't a strong enough close to get in on. So I'm waiting. We'll see what kind of price action we get tomorrow. I just like the way this seems like it's starting to trend and turn. And we'll see if it can continue to push higher. I think there's a good chance that the corrective action might be over on this stock. That maybe we got 5 waves down here, and we're starting some kind of wave count to the upside. And I can make the case that this is kind of an ABC flat in here with a move up as one. We'll see whether or not we get that. We're going to need continuation to happen to continue on this third wave up, if that's the case. And that's what I'm looking for. And then United States Steel, U.S. Steel. Okay, so U.S. Steel also was up, and we got into this this morning. I saw this as I reviewed last night, reviewed again first thing this morning, and I thought, okay, this just looks like it wants to go and trend. So got into this thing first thing in the morning, and it had a nice trend day today, nice push, continuing the trend that it's in. Again, if oil's going, this seems to be going, it seems to go with oil, and what I need to do is do some homework as to, do these guys have some oil related, or is it just that it's steel related to the oil? I'm just wondering. I don't know enough about U.S. Steel, to be honest with you, whether it's why it's so oil kind of sensitive to me. But be that as it may, it's looks like it's broken above this this point right here. Pull back, and now I think it's trying to run again, and I could see it. The next resistance point would be right up here where it sold off at 29.62, and here's the 233-day moving average right up here at just about the same spot. So that's kind of an interesting little target. And so if oil's going up and oil's getting more expensive, well, then the solar stocks might like that. So let's take a look at, there it is, Canadian Solar. Now, Canadian Solar has been rallying since mid-January. Really nice rally, and it's pushing that. I think it's getting a little bit tired in here. It just looks like it. What was nice is it had a nice break of this trend line here with real power and a gap, okay? So, and it continued to push. But here is the trend line that contains all of the corrective action, okay, that's been going on since this big move over here, okay? All of this corrective action. It's going to need to break this trend line to signal that it's really on its way. And I got a feeling it's starting to run out a little power here, and it may just correct and then like pull back, get some energy, and then ram right up through there. Because I just think we're getting some divergence right in here, and we're seeing it in several of these on all the indicators, seeing some divergence. So. Divergence, light volume too. As I was looking at this, look at how the volume is well below the 50-day moving average. The dotted line is the 50-day moving average. So the volume's low. The trading's gotten real tight, very tight in here, and it may be just getting tired. And that's what I'm watching for. That we might pull back and then launch again. And then the last one we'll take a look at tonight is SolarCity. SolarCity has been on fire too. Nice move here since mid-March. And, again, the thing I'm looking at is it looks like it's breaking out of this. It's not a super clear symmetrical triangle, but it kind of looks that way to me. It's almost more of a sideways box to a certain degree. Now, it may, I'm kind of focused on this trend line, that it's breaking out of that trend line with volume. But it hasn't taken out this high here yet, the high 6109. So we could get a pullback because we haven't had any kind of a solid correction. Very minor correction in here, minor correction in here. We may get a pullback back down, maybe the 21-day, rising 21-day, and then it goes again. But I don't think there's no negative divergence here. No bearish divergence there that I can see. We may be a little bit on the demand index. It could be getting a little tired and to get a pullback. So right now it's looking good, but I'd be watching for a pullback to try to get back on board. So, all right, that's it for tonight. And but tomorrow's Friday. I'll be back on Saturday with another weekend update. And I'm going to go back to my old schedule starting next week, I think. And I'm going to start with trade ideas on Sunday. So Saturday weekend update, trade ideas on Sunday. Try to keep that fairly short video. And then probably do Monday, Wednesday, Saturday is what I'm thinking about doing right now. And go to that. So let's see what else. And don't forget about the training video that I mentioned to opt in for that and take a look at the 3 videos I've got scheduled. You get one now. The second one's coming out on Saturday, and we'll go from there. All right, it's been Joe for Beyond the Chart. Have a great Friday, everyone.